Hey guys, welcome back to Eric Reacts. I got a haircut and we are back for the penultimate season of Game of Thrones. This is season 7, episode 1. And I'm actually going to switch it up and not find out the title of the episode until after the episode. I don't think I've been spoiled for anything by episode titles before, but hey, just in case. We've got a lot of moving parts this season coming up. Everything is coming to Westeros. Tyrion and Varys are coming back after 2 years. Daenerys is coming. We've finally gotten confirmation that Jon is Rhaegar and Lyanna's son. And I don't know if Jon and Daenerys will meet, but that would certainly be very interesting. But there are so many plot lines to resolve and not a lot of time left. Jorah still has Grayscale. Sandor Clegane, we've never seen him resolve his issues with Gregor or reunite with Arya. So there are many, many things that I'm very excited for. But I'm also very, very sad. I don't want this to end. And we're so close to the end. Actually, we've only got 2 more months left of Game of Thrones left on this channel. And there's a lot of content I'm looking forward to watching afterwards. Interviews, bloopers, parodies, whatever. But only 13 episodes left. And we started this journey together back in early November. And I've been pushing hard to catch up. But it feels like this show has been with me much longer than that for some reason. I don't think a show has resonated this hard with me before. Simply because, well, my favorite show is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I watched that like from the beginning, 1 episode at a time, 1 week at a time. And there was long breaks in between. Whereas with this, I feel so immersed in the story because I've been watching 3 episodes a week for forever now. 4 months now. Almost 5 months already. And yeah, I just feel very immersed in the world. Don't know what I'm going to do with myself after it's all over. Actually, I do, because as we draw to a close, we have some other things coming up. I'll have more time for movies. I've started Stranger Things, and I'm doing the same thing with Stranger Things as I did with Game of Thrones. I will catch up with Stranger Things exactly 1 week before Season 3 starts, so yay. But I'm also going to be starting a new series, drumroll please, My Hero Academia. So far, what I know about it is that it's a show about people with superpowers. The main character's name is Deku or Deku. I don't even. And I also know that it's very, very popular. And the superhero genre is something I'm a big fan of. So I'm looking forward to that. I actually wanted to start it in mid-March, but I just got overwhelmed with all the different things I'm doing on my channel right now. And so the first episode of that will be up on Patreon on Saturday, April 6th. On Patreon, and on YouTube 1 week after that. I know at least one of you are extremely excited for this one. You know who you are. And I have more plans, but not ready to unveil them just yet. Anyway, for what I guess will be the last time, I ask the favor of my wonderful, wonderful moderators in keeping me free from spoilers, since once we get to Season 8, there won't be really anything to spoil. I'll know as much as you guys. Thank you so much for your help, and yeah, it's been great. Let's get into this episode, though. If you want to check out the full reaction on Patreon with the footage, check that out in the link in the description below. But let's get started.
Gold.
Is she
wine.
poisoning them?
The proper heroes.
Not drinking. It's her.
You didn't slaughter every one of the Starks. No.
Tell them the North remembers.
Oh, man.
Tell them winter came for House Frey.
Oh god, please don't show me Hodor. Please don't show me Hodor. That's a giant. That's another giant. That's another one over there. Oh man, there's only the skull left.
I don't plan on knitting by the fire while men fight for me.
Oh.
I might be small, Lord Professor, and I might be a girl.
I love
but
her.
I am every bit as much a northerner as you.
Indeed you are, my lady. No one is
And I don't
questioning
need your permission to defend the North. We'll begin training every man, woman, boy, and girl on Bear Island.
Let's go. Yeah.
We should give the last hearth and carhold to new families, loyal families who supported us against Ramsay.
I'm not going to strip these families of their ancestral homes because of the crimes of a few reckless sons.
So there's no punishment for treason and no reward for loyalty.
Don't
Can't question your decisions anymore.
Of course you can, but
Joffrey never let anyone question his authority. You think he was a good king?
Oh, 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 oh. No, no, no.
Do you think I'm Joffrey?
No, no, no.
You're as far from Joffrey as anyone I've ever met.
Aw.
Thank you.
They respect you, they really do, but you have to... Why are you laughing?
What did Father used to say? Everything before the word "but" is horse shit.
Never said that to me.
Yeah. No, he never cursed in front of his girls.
Because he was trying to protect us.
Your Grace.
This is the Bolton's maester. He serves them now.
We still have a wall between us and the Night King. There's nothing between us and Cersei. I know her. If you're her enemy, she'll never stop until she's destroyed you. Everyone who's ever crossed her, she's found a way to murder.
Do they even know about the Sept of Baelor?
You almost sound as if you admire her.
Kind of. Maybe.
Learned a great deal from her.
Use it to destroy her.
Olenna, the old cunt. Another traitor.
Traitor, you murdered her family.
I understand whoever wins could launch a dynasty that lasts 1,000 years.
A dynasty for whom? Our children are dead. We're the last of us.
A dynasty
The last
for
of
us,
us. Live forever.
We never talked about Tommen.
Yeah.
then. There's nothing to say.
Our baby boy killed himself.
He betrayed me. He betrayed us both.
Fuck
Spend
you.
our days mourning the dead, mother, father, and all our children.
Cersei.
I loved them, I did. But they're ashes now, and we're still flesh and blood.
Ooh, 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 ooh. You're not allowed. He's got a new set of armor.
When you rushed through the breach and started cutting people down, it was glorious. Like a dance.
The people I was cutting down were your own kin.
The place was getting crowded.
Wow.
I enjoyed watching it. I truly did. I wanted to grow up and marry the most beautiful woman in the world. So here I am, with 1,000 ships and 2 good hands.
Wow.
I decline your proposal.
He doesn't look too happy. Is he just like restocking books? He's the librarian. Oh. Poor Sam. Oh, every single time. Oh, they look the same. The food and their shit look the same. Oh god, stop it, making me watch this. How long does this scene go on? Is it like a restricted section, like in Harry Potter? Don't just open any random book, it'll start screaming. Aww. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Tormund. Oh! Oh!
You're a lucky man.
Oh my god, Tormund.
What do you want, Lord Baelish?
The throne.
I want you to be happy.
No, you don't.
I want you to be safe.
I am safe. I'm at home, surrounded by friends.
And you?
What about happy?
I'll never be happy.
Why aren't you happy? What do you want that you do not have?
At the moment, peace and quiet.
Cersei's head on a spike.
No need to seize the last word, Lord Baelish. I'll assume it was something clever.
Wow.
Cold are always cold, but
Wait, is this Ed Sheeran? Is that his name?
Are you hungry? We've got some rabbit.
What interest do they have in helping? Or is it just to help?
Then, when I finally make it, they wouldn't let me within a mile of the Red Keep. The Sept of Baelor's blown to hell. And the Dragon Pit.
Is that his name, Ed Sheeran? I gotta look this up.
I'm going to kill the Queen.
Oh man. Oh my god. Yeah, it looks it's him. It's him. They think she's joking. They think she's joking.
For a big hard man, you scare easy.
I'll tell you what doesn't scare me. Bald cocksuckers like you. You think you're fooling anyone with that top knot? Bald cunt.
Oh. That guy and his daughter that he stole the silver from. He was right about them not needing it. Not surviving the winter.
I always thought you were dull as dirt. You're not bad. I don't hate you. Don't like you, but you're not bad.
Thank you, Clegane. That warms the heart.
But there's nothing special about you.
You're right about that.
So
why does the Lord of Light keep bringing you back? It's my fucking luck I end up with a band of fire worshippers.
Aye. Almost seems like divine justice.
There's no divine justice, you dumb cunt. If there was, you'd be dead. And that girl would be alive.
He's gonna overcome his fear. Make fire your strength. He's gonna become a pyromaniac. I would love that.
It's where the wall meets the sea.
Eastwatch.
There's a castle there. There's a mountain. Looks like an arrowhead.
A mountain? As in the mountain or a mountain?
Dead are marching past.
He's gonna help? Aww. I feel like the pacing of this episode is slower, but not in a bad way. That looks a little bit like the Valyrian dagger. We know from history and lore that there's a lot of...
It's a map of Dragonstone. The Targaryens built their first stronghold there when they invaded Westeros.
That's a mine.
That's dragonglass.
A mountain of it.
A mountain?
Beneath the ground. Stannis told me, but I didn't think... This is important. John needs to know.
Why did I have a feeling that was gonna happen and it still made me jump? Who dat?
Has she come yet? Who? The Dragon Queen.
Jorah!
Daenerys Stormborn.
Haven't heard anything.
Jorah. Oh, I didn't even see his hand until now. Jorah! Frickin' Mormont. No, don't close it on him. Finally, we get to land. It's been days. What if someone's here and they're just like, welcome home to Daenerys. I like this throne. Could be pointier though. Stannis and Melisandre did it right there on this table. If you look closely enough, you can still see her butt print.
Shall we begin?
Alright guys, it's finally beginning. Daenerys is about to invade Westeros. But before that, is it just me or is everybody wearing black this season? Like the Mountain has his new black armor. The Kingsguard, it seemed like we're wearing black. It might just be Cersei's decision what armor they wear. But yeah, she and Jaime were wearing black. Daenerys, Tyrion, Grey Worm, Missandei, all in black. It feels like the Night's Watch and Northerners wear a lot of black before, so is there some sort of symbolism there? Like they wear black all along because they're prepared for winter, and now that everyone else is preparing for winter, they're also wearing black. Seems like a reach, but I don't have another explanation for it yet. But anyway, I really appreciate the pacing of this episode. I feel like there were a lot of scenes that took a while to develop, and yeah, I really like them. The White Walkers walking towards the camera with the storm, bringing the storm, and they're bringing giants. Very curious what other types of creatures or whatever they could bring. I know horses are one of them. Sandor's scene with Thoros of Myr digging the grave, that was pretty slow paced too, but I really liked it. And then we had that 5.5 minute clip with 0 dialogue, Daenerys just walking through Dragonstone, only to end by saying, "Shall we begin?" But this episode opens with Arya wearing Walder Frey's face, and she completes her revenge at the twins against the Freys, and House Frey is essentially gone. One of my commenters has been leaving like body counts for Arya, and I just lost count. There's no way. If you're able to count everybody she killed just now, that'd be pretty impressive. But she left a wife alive to spread the tale, saying the North remembers, winter will come. But I'm curious if the twins are an important stronghold to take. On one hand, if you want to head to King's Landing from the north, you need that beautiful bridge, as Talissa mentioned. She was like, I hope it was a beautiful bridge. On the other hand, I don't see why Jon would want to head south, at least not until the winter is over, but it's important to hold it just in case. Bran and Mira arrive at the wall and are let through. Mira, she's always been skinny, but they like really upped it in this episode and made her seem like malnourished and just all around exhausted. Like she's gone through so much. I'm glad somebody else was finally there to help drag Bran along. But yeah, Jon has everyone starting to train for the fight to come, all the boys and girls aged 10 and up. I don't know what 1 year of training will do, since season 8 is the next season, and that's probably 1 year from now, but hopefully we've got some kids that have already been training or are a bit more naturally talented. Lyanna Mormont stands up for this idea that she wants to train, like she doesn't want to be sitting along while the men fight for the North. That was really cool. I love her so much. But yeah, Jon makes the Wildlings the new Night's Watch, and Tormund is heading with the Wildlings to Eastwatch to defend against the White Walkers. I feel like that's definitely not enough. Do they have enough of an army to just... Like, do the White Walkers just have a big enough army to line the Whites across the entire wall and just have all of them climb at once? Because you can stop some of them, but you can't stop all of them if you just spread them out enough. Or maybe even have them congregate at areas where the Night's Watch aren't staffed. But yeah, Sansa and Jon get into it a little in front of everybody. And Jon is right, she shouldn't be undermining him in front of other people. And it's not even about the fact that he's king in the North. Like, if she's proclaiming something as well, he shouldn't undermine her either. I feel like they should be making like joint decisions. Like, they should have had this conversation in private first to decide what's best and form a united front. Jon has been a great leader, but she's much better with political matters. And in this case, I do agree with Jon, though. If he took the castles of the Karstarks and Umbers away from them, they're probably going to lose a lot of support from the men of those houses. Yeah, it is a time for loyalty, but for unity now. So it makes sense to me to leave those houses with the Karstarks and Umbers. But as we saw in history and lore, Sansa feels strongly that her ancestors made a mistake by allowing House Bolton to live. So she's the one who has had to take the biggest brunt of their betrayal as well, and I understand where she's coming from. I don't think that Karstark and Umber will be any less loyal than any of the other houses going forward, though who knows what future centuries will bring. And they also get a raven from King's Landing asking Jon to kneel to Cersei. That's not happening. Maybe if Cersei offered help at the wall, like, maybe he would take that into consideration, because that's the most important thing right now. But she doesn't have the resources for that, especially with other houses basically in open rebellion. And Sansa talking about how she learned a lot from Cersei. I actually don't want to see Daenerys versus Cersei as much as I want to see Sansa versus Cersei. But we might get Arya versus Cersei first with the way things are going. I love Arya running into those Lannister men featuring Ed Sheeran. I was pronouncing his name Shireen, like Shireen Baratheon, but it's Ed Sheeran. I don't know if I've ever listened to any of his music. I probably have just on the radio and didn't know it was him. But I recognize his face. It's a nice little role they carved out for him. Got to hear him sing. I recognized one of the other actors in that scene too. He was in Kingsman, the Secret Service, as one of Eggsy's friends, I believe. But anyway, I was uncomfortable with all those men alone with Arya. I mean, she can take care of herself, but I was afraid they'd try something. Pleasantly surprised they didn't. I suppose that's not a role Ed Sheeran would want, like trying to take advantage of a young girl. But as they're telling her about King's Landing, I see her like she's eyeing their weapons, making sure they can't take advantage of her, making sure she's ready for anything. But she sees these soldiers as something more than just Lannister men by the end of their conversation. Like, she sees them as simple human beings who want to go home and are part of this army just because that's their lot in life. That's what they're forced to do. Like that guy said, just boys just go off to fight in someone else's wars. But I loved how she was just like, I'm going to King's Landing to kill the queen. And I was just like crickets for a while, and they all started laughing. That was a really great scene. But yeah, I wonder if we'll get any more celebrity guest stars that aren't actors. I don't know if it'll start seeming out of place. I'm guessing a lot of people already felt like Ed Sheeran's appearance was already out of place. Like, what if Justin Bieber just shows up in the next episode or something with his like trademark hair from earlier in his career? That'd actually be kind of hilarious. And then Cersei, and you know what? If I'm actually right about Justin Bieber, I'm just making a joke, but if that actually happens, you're all gonna be like, you've seen this show before, like. But then yeah, Cersei and Jaime have this conversation over this map of Westeros. I thought there might be some symbolism with where they were standing, but if there is, I'm missing it. There's a moment when Cersei stands on King's Landing and Jaime stands on Dragonstone, and historically Dragonstone is where people gather before taking Westeros. But Jaime's not thinking of taking Westeros from Cersei, like, so that didn't make sense. Another where Jaime's at the Fingers and she's around Riverrun. Maybe there's just some foreshadowing on some level that I just can't see far ahead enough, or we'll be able to figure out later, but I don't know. But they see their biggest priority as Highgarden. They need it for the grain and the livestock. And I agree. If I were them, I'd make taking Highgarden the highest priority. We might see a pretty epic battle at Highgarden, I feel like, because yeah, without the resources, they won't survive the winter. Olenna, Dorne, they could just wait out the winter, and Cersei, King's Landing would probably fall from the way it sounds like, because Highgarden was offering so much help to King's Landing before. But they also mentioned they needing allies. They have like no idea who took out all of the Freys, and that's actually incredible. Like, Arya is using fear and psychological warfare as a weapon too. Like, an enemy just you can't see coming, who just took down a supposedly impenetrable bridge without so much as a whisper. That is scary and powerful, and it's amazing. But man, Cersei is so deranged at this point, calling Olenna a traitor after Cersei blew up Mace, Loras, and Marjorie. Like, are you kidding me? And then saying Tommen betrayed her. Oh my god. I mean, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with cursing, but I try, sometimes unsuccessfully, not to curse too much. But I couldn't contain myself when she says Tommen betrayed her. Like, she honestly blames him after everything she put him through. She armed the invading force of Sparrows because she didn't like his wife. She put him in a position where he had to listen to the Sparrows and had to outlaw trial by combat. So that wasn't his fault. It was hers. Like, if anyone is the traitor here, it's her. And she's either willfully ignorant, delusional, or just straight up the Mad Queen now. I don't think there was ever any room for her redemption, but I've never felt so done with her before. Man. But we find out she called Euron Greyjoy here to bargain. And his offer of ships is now given to her instead of Daenerys. And if you watched the past few episodes, you know I didn't like Euron all that much. What kind of Ironborn gets lost in a storm? I am the storm. Something about the drowned god. I am the drowned god. Just so corny and ridiculous, but now he's actually shaping up to be a little charismatic, not in the sense of like, women would fall for him, but more in the sense of like, wow, he's a fun character to watch. Still like the worst person, but way more interesting now. His wooing of Cersei was more than just a little smooth. Ever since I was a child, I wanted to marry the most beautiful woman in the world. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good line. Jaime saying he was slaughtering his kin, and Euron being like, it was getting crowded. Like, just some really good lines. And his jabs at Jaime. Here I am with 1,000 ships and 2 good hands. Wow. Jaime's face. Oh man, he was so mad. He was like seething. And then he tells Cersei Cersei says, "You killed your brother," and he was like, "Yeah, it was a jolly old time. You should try it." But Cersei refuses his offer for marriage, which I imagine she was going to do all along. She knew what his price would be when she called him in, but he says he'll come back bearing a gift. And Cersei, there are moments where she can do the right thing, and I think she's doing it here. She knows Euron has no other options but to ally with her, since Daenerys is allied with Yara and Theon. But this gift, I'm not sure what it could be. Were the ships not enough of a gift? Does he take a particular stronghold that is of strategic value to her? You see, I don't know the military strength of some of these kingdoms. Like Highgarden and the Reach are the things Cersei wants most because they need the resources, but would Euron be able to take it? I don't know. Like, I have no idea. But maybe he can grab some of that territory for her. Maybe that would be a step forward. But yeah, that gift for him is very interesting. But if this was Euron Greyjoy from the first time we saw him, where I hated him and thought he was really annoying, he'd be like, "I have a gift for you." What is it? I am the gift. But yeah, we've seen some... This next scene... We've seen some truly just horrible, despicable, and just disgusting things on this show. But the Mountain crushing Oberyn, ripping that Sparrow's head off, Ned's head on a spike, the Red Wedding, just truly terrible things. But nothing could have prepared me for this episode. Sam scooping the poop and the food that looked like the poop and him just almost throwing up. Like, my God. Oh, that was so hard to watch. I'm mostly joking. I was kind of being over dramatic about that, but seriously, that was really hard to watch. I left most of the scene in my reaction because if I had to suffer through it, you guys have to suffer again through it too. I'm mostly kidding. I did leave it in because my reaction was pretty visceral. This is certainly not the life Sam imagined, and it's funny that I made a Harry Potter restricted section comment right before we see Sam talking to the Archmaester. It took a repeat viewing for me to make the connection that it's Professor Slughorn from The Half-Blood Prince and the next few movies as well. And yeah, the Archmaester is smart, figures out with logic that Sam is telling the truth about White Walkers, but his healthy skepticism leads him to believe that it's not as big a threat as Sam thinks. It's actually pretty interesting because I have comments saying, like, watch this interview with George R.R. Martin. He says he was thinking directly of climate change when he wrote about the White Walkers. And then I get comments saying, here's this interview where he says White Walkers have nothing to do with climate change. So that's really interesting. I haven't looked at any of them to confirm what he said or didn't say, because I don't want to watch any outside content before I finish the series. But regardless of what George R.R. Martin intended, we're free to draw our own connections. So the Archmaester acknowledges White Walkers and doesn't think it's a real problem. So you can see the connection with our real world. And he doesn't allow Sam into the restricted section of the library. And I get it. Like, the last time he talked to somebody about the restricted section, they wound up making a whole bunch of Horcruxes, so I get it. But yeah, Sam winds up stealing a book through without the help of an invisibility cloak. Hope that doesn't come back to bite him. And he gets to spend his nights with Gillian Little Sam. Is it called Old Town, the place surrounding the Citadel? It's nice he gets to spend time with them. Though I guess he spends it largely studying. He wants to help Jon and humanity, and most of all, Gillian Little Sam. I'm pretty sure the knife we saw in the book was Littlefinger's dagger, and they said that that's the Targaryens decorate their weapons with dragon glass. So does that mean the Littlefinger's dagger was Targaryen? That could be interesting. But yeah, Sam finds the biggest dragonglass repository in the book, and it's on Dragonstone. He even remarks that Stannis said there was a lot of dragonglass there, but like, we knew that. We knew that already. Why didn't he think that was relevant to tell Jon? Like, did he not think it was a big enough repository? Did he think Stannis was exaggerating or something? I don't know. But now... Because if he had told them back then, they could have gone to Dragonstone and come back with the dragonglass already. But now, if they want to do it, they have to negotiate with Daenerys. And I don't know how on board she'll be for like what her priorities are. Like, will she be like throne first, White Walkers later, or White Walkers first and throne later? I think that will be the big deciding factor of whether or not she'll let people take Dragon Glass from her, from Dragonstone. But finally, we get a scene with Sam and Jorah. Very interesting. And Jorah actually seems to have come to the right place. The Maesters might be able to cure him, but they locked him up instead. Maybe he's too far gone. But the only Maester we know of, like, the Maester we're most familiar with is Sam, or the Maester in training we're most familiar with is Sam. So is he going to treat Jorah? I don't know if he has that expertise. I don't know how long he's been here. How much has he learned? I'm not sure. But yeah, back in Winterfell, Sansa interacting with Littlefinger is very interesting. He might have taught her too well. He's like, she's not falling for anything he says. I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be safe. I like how she just shuts him down. Like, no need to seize the last word. I'll assume it was something clever. Very good. I feel like with what was said earlier about how she learned from Cersei to Jon, she's really learned from the best and or most psychotic manipulators in the world, or in Westeros at the very least. Cersei, Littlefinger, Ramsay, even Marjorie. I'm very curious if Sansa looks back on her interactions with Marjorie and realizes that Marjorie was kind of manipulating her too. But yeah, for so long, I wonder how aware she is about people who were actually on her side. Tyrion and Shay, for the longest time, those were the only people who had her back, whether she knew it or not. Now she's surrounded by friends, but I also don't know how hard it will be to move on from all that trauma that she suffered already. But yeah, there are some interesting reunions that I really want to look forward to, like Arya and the Hound. What was I just saying? Sansa and Tyrion. I'd be really curious to see that. And this episode, we also have Sandor Clegane making his way north with the Brotherhood, and they come upon the father and daughter that helped him and Arya a few seasons ago. Like, he was right that they would have died in the winter, and that Silver wouldn't have helped them. But they showed him kindness, and he's sad that they're dead, and he buries them. Thoros shows him a vision in the flames, or rather, Sandor sees something in the flames. From that interaction, it seemed like everybody sees something different in the flames, but I'm not completely sure. Like, Beric was looking over with like a lot of interest, like he hadn't heard of what Sandor was currently seeing in the flames. Like, maybe people are shown what they need to be shown by the Lord of Light. I don't know. But finally, Daenerys arriving at Dragonstone, and we literally have a 5.5 minute scene with no dialogue, and just Daenerys walking through, looking through her home, pulling down Baratheon banners. In my head, I was just like, what if someone's here? What if someone's like sitting there like, welcome home, Daenerys? And my first thought was that maybe Gendry is there. He never found his way to King's Landing and he's just stranded here. I'm actually starting to wonder what, like, was that just the end of his story? Was the whole point of him being set free to give Davos like character development? I mean, he's the last person we know with Baratheon blood though, so I'm getting sidetracked. But anyway, yeah. Shall we begin? Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to see her in Westeros. Last thing. Pod and Brienne are training, and Brienne gets distracted by Tormund coming over. We don't get that like detestable reaction from Brienne that we've gotten before. Like, Tormund's looking at me. Like, did something change? Is she less hateful of him now? But yeah. Anyway, a score for this episode. Man, that Sam scene almost makes me want to lower this score, but it was very effective in making us feel what Sam felt, so I won't. I'm going to give this episode 3.5 direwolves. We're getting ready, though, for the end. Let's do a countdown. We've got 12 episodes left. But yeah, everybody, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube and want to watch the next 3 episodes right now, or you want to watch a full reaction. Make sure to check out those options on Patreon in the link in the description below or over here. Thanks for watching. Bye, friends. That was a long reaction. That was a long discussion. My throat is actually dying. I don't think I've done this long a reaction discussion for a season finale ever. All right, bye.